I have changed this list so many times because I'm like, oh, I have a good list of people that I would like the Dolphins to target. Someone gets cut. All right, well, he could fit. Someone else gets cut. All right, they could fit. Someone else gets cut. So I'm gonna make this video before more people get cut because that's gonna happen. What is up, Finn fans? Free agent target video. Now, I do this every year, and not necessarily that this is who they're going to get or who, I expect them to get. This is just kind of my opinion of who I'd like them to get. And I'll tell you when I name them, like if it makes sense, should you do it, this, and that, yada, yada. Before we jump into that, we're talking money, we're talking free agents, we're talking moves. I got to talk about today's sponsor, and that is BetUS. BetUS is a fantastic betting site. It's a site, not an app. I just want to make sure you guys know that because I think some of you guys hit me up saying, the app's weird. It's just a site, not an app. But instead of me rambling on about it, let them explain a little bit about what BetUS is.
BetUS, America's favorite sportsbook and casino. Live betting and racebook. We're celebrating 30 years with a historic offer. A 125% sign-up bonus on your first 3 deposits. Plus 10% gambler's insurance. Get started today. BetUS, where the game begins.
So you can see here, this is the site. It's very easy to use, very reliable. You got all the sports on this side. And when I say all, I mean all. Like they got cricket, darts, cycling, anything you could think of. And over across the top, sports bet booking, live betting, casino, racebook promotions. And they have their channel BetUS TV. But obviously we are football. We talk football on this channel. So here you go. Football. So I'm going to select all on the NFL free agent stuff here and there. You just click and then you just pick. Plain and simple. Where's Russell Wilson going to end up? They say that with the Pittsburgh Steelers, the least spot is with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Yeah, I can see the Steelers, the Raiders, the Falcons being the top. Then you have a starting quarterback. Atlanta Falcons starting quarterback week 1. A lot of people think it's going to be Kirk Cousins. No one thinks it's going to be Ryan Tannehill. Denver Broncos starting quarterback week 1. A lot of people think it's going to be Jarrett Stidham. Zach Wilson possibly is all the way at any rookie quarterback would be number 2. Raiders starting head coach. Quarterback Aiden O'Connell seems to be the favorite. Vikings Justin Fields seems to be the favorite, as well as Trey Lance and Joshua Dobbs, Pittsburgh Steeler. Russell Wilson is the favorite there. Next name of Washington NFL franchise. I guess they'll change the name again. But yes, it is very easy, very good to use, 24/7 customer service, 24-hour payout. And again, use the promo code DROID125 and get your first 3 deposits matched up to 125%, $2,500. So thank you again, BetUS. I appreciate you for sponsoring me for so long and still being a sponsor of the channel. So let's jump into this because I got some names. That I want to talk about. We'll even kind of pull up PFF here. We can look at cap numbers. They kind of give you a little bit of an idea of, my brain shutting off, what their numbers might be. Like they got Chris Jones here. They project him to have a 4-year, $120 million contract, $80 million guaranteed, $30 million a year. Like he might go back to the I said Washington, Kansas City Chiefs. Weird, no, but that's not what you're here for. You want me to tell you who I think or who I would like them to target when it comes to free agency. Now I'm going to make this video nice, right? Sprinkle in some oohs and some, okay, that makes sense. And I'm going to start real simple. Get it off the bat. We're going to start special teams. Punter. Now Andrew Bailey is gone. Wasn't good. I think sometimes he cost us games because he was punting the ball to their 45 instead of pinning them down. And the Kansas City Chiefs signed Matt Arizo, which means they got rid of Tommy Townsend, and that's who I would sign. If I'm the Miami Dolphins, yes, obviously you hope that your offense is good enough that you don't have to punt like we did I think it was against, I don't remember what team it was against, but it was 2022 where Morstead was just kind of sitting there, clean jersey, just sitting there. You don't want that, but when you do, you want to have a good punter, and Tommy Townsend is a good punter. The fact that Matt Ariza went in there and they knocked Townsend out of there is interesting to me, but I think go out, get Tommy Townsend. You don't have to pay him an arm and a leg. Hopefully there's not, any type of bidding war for him, but definitely address the punting situation, and get someone good. Get someone like, we're facing a good defense, and our defense is doing their job, and they just need a field goal, and they stop us on our own 30, that this guy is going to be able to punt it down to their 5. And then our defense could pin the ears back and get after him. So there's that. Punter. I'm trying to think of who do I want to go in next. Where do I want to go next? Let's go center. We'll go center next. Here, I'm going to give you a couple names at center, and center/guard situation that I kind of want the Dolphins to, go after. Now, when it comes to center, Andrew James from the Raiders, he's 27. Tell you what his cap number might be. He had a good year. He had a very good year, and supposedly Dolphins are interested in him. Now, PFF is projecting that he'll want a 3-year, $27 million total, which is $9 million a year. That's not bad. And especially the way you structure it, you could, again, 3-year contract, first 2 years, you have the out after the first 2 years, all that stuff. But I do like Andre James, and I think he can come in and compete. Obviously, Mitch Morse, he was just released by the Buffalo Bills. He does have concussion problems, but I will say this. He's 32, but the last 5 seasons, he's only missed 11 games. So 11 out of 99 games he's missed. So yes, he's had concussion issues, but he's kind of could help. He's got that versatility. He's got that strength. And again, we don't know what's going on with Connor Williams. I would love to bring Connor Williams back, but Connor Williams is a wait and see, and Connor Williams might be a situation where, we bring in an Andre James, we bring in a Mitch Morse, and we can't get JPJ, or we don't draft a center, and then you sign Connor Williams with the money that you had with Xavier Howard's $18.5 million. That's a possibility. Connor Williams is a situation that's going to happen after the draft because of his injury. They need to see how the severity of it still is going, all that stuff. So Connor Williams isn't out of the situation, but I'm not going to sit back and wait and hope and pray that we get him. I'm going to be proactive. My top guy is Andre James from the Raiders. I like him, and especially at $9 million a year, I don't think that's too bad. A 3-year deal. And Mitch Morse if we can't get Andre James. So guard, the Patriots got rid of a very versatile offensive lineman in Mike Onwenu. He's young, 26, very versatile, played guard, then played right tackle. He kind of really took off at playing right tackle. Let's see if PFF put him in. They did. They're projecting him 4 years, $58 million, $14.5 million. If we lose out on Robert Hunt, I say you go out and get Mike Onwenu. I'm probably butchering his name. Just because of the fact that he has that versatility to play the multiple positions on the inside and the outside. So if we do lose out on Robert Hunt because he does get 16 to 17 million somewhere else, go out and get Onwenu. And then he can play that, God forbid Armstead, if he does come back, gets hurt again, he could possibly go over there and help out as well. But mostly I'd bring back Isaiah Wynn to play left guard and have him play right guard, and then have Connor Williams compete and be that swing guy that can play all the positions there. So that's to me, it's not the boring aspect of it. To me, it's the important. And again, if they go out and they get a center and they get a guard in free agency, I'll feel better going into the draft, in the first round, just doing BPA. And we'll talk more about that because that's a horse of a different color when it comes to videos, which I'll do later on at the end of the month. But I would prefer to go into the draft doing BPA because you don't know how things are going to fall. So there's that. The next position I'll talk about is linebacker. We don't have Jerome Baker. Is there a possibility of bringing Jerome Baker back? Yes, there is a possibility. Go watch my tampering video where I kind of talked about what the Dolphins might be doing with Baker, with Hunt, with Andrew Van Ginkel, with Christian Wilkins, and that tampering period. But say they don't bring Baker back. A lot of people want to go out there and they want to get Patrick Queen. They want to get Frankie Louvu. But those guys are going to be expensive. Now, I would love to get them. I actually want Frankie Louvu if I had the chance. He's estimated to make about $10 million a year. Let me look up his numbers. I know it's around $10 million a year. Yeah, 3 years, $30 million, 17 guaranteed. So again, another situation. First two, you get your money, and then if we want to move on after year two, that's an option. I would love that. I would definitely love that. But if you're penny pinching, and I'm going to talk about this at the end of the video when it comes to the comp picks and stuff like that. If you're penny pinching and you're trying to still get those comp picks, there's two guys you can get. There's Drew Tranquil and there's Aziz Al-Shahiri. I'm sorry for butchering names. Those two guys would equate to about $10 million a year. So you can get two very solid, reliable linebackers for the price of a Frankie Louvu, or for the price of a Patrick Queen, or for the price of a Jordan Brooks, or, you know, all of these guys, a Devin White. You can get very good. Even Josie Jewell is a very good, reliable guy you can bring in. But Drew Tranquil, who's estimated to make around $5 million a year, you can sign him to a 2-year contract, $10 million. And Aziz, who is projected to make 3 years, $20.25 million, which is $6.75 million a year. You can get two solid linebackers for the price of one stud. Now, I'm cool with taking a stud and then drafting a potential backup and a potential future linebacker, maybe in the 5th, or if we can trade back and get a third, because there are some good linebackers in this draft. Talk about that at the end of the month. But that's what I would do at the linebacker situation. You know, if I had to choose, hey, Doug, who's a pricey guy you'd want? Frankie Louvu out of Carolina. But if I'm being smart, Drew Tranquil and Aziz Al-Shari. I'm gonna butcher it. I'm gonna butcher it, and I apologize for butchering it. Next, let's just rip this Band-Aid off. I'm gonna rip this Band-Aid off, and we're gonna talk about it. I want Derrick Henry. It just makes too much sense not to try your best, try your all to go out there and get Derrick Henry. Yeah, Doug, but what about Raheem Mostert, who had a very good year? Wholeheartedly keeping Mostert, and I don't think it'll hurt his feelings, because if you remember last year, they went out and tried to get Dalvin Cook. That didn't work. They brought back Mostert and Jeff Wilson. Then they went into the draft. They drafted Devon Achane. Then after they drafted Devon Achane, they tried to trade for DeAndre Swift. That didn't work. Coming out of the draft, they tried to sign Dalvin Cook. That didn't work. Then they contacted the Giants. Hey, what would you give up? What would you need to get Saquon Barkley? That didn't work. Then they contacted the Raiders. Hey, is Josh Jacobs on the table? That didn't work. So then they stuck with their guys. It gets to the point that it's like, okay, I think they're going to want to add a linebacker. And Derrick Henry is just, it makes too much sense, right? Now they're projecting 2 years, $9 million a year. I don't think he's going to get that much, because the running back situation isn't the way it used to be, but it just makes too much sense. We need that power back. We need to have some type of physicality in the offense. We need it when there's 3rd and 2, 4th and 1, 3rd and goal. Screw it, 1st and goal from the 2. We're not trying to throw fades. We're not trying to throw bubble screens. We're not trying to do anything, fancy and all that stuff. We are just going to turn around and hand it to Derrick Henry and let him just smash that ball in for the first down or the touchdown. It just makes too much sense. We are called a finesse team on offense. You can't do that at the end of the year going into the playoffs. You need to be that physical team. Adding Derrick Henry makes you that physical team. I have no other running backs I want. Josh Jacobs, no. He's going to cost too much. Saquon, no. He's going to cost too much. These two guys are going to want starting roles. They're not going to want to be in a rotation with Mostert and Devon Achane. Don't want them. Tony Pollard, no thank you. Austin Eckler, maybe if it is 2 years at $9 million, 4.5 a year, sure, I think he fits, but he's not that physical running back that we need. J.K. Dobbins, maybe, but there's the injury concerns. Gus Edwards, same, but there's the injury concerns. Just go after Derrick Henry. Get Derrick Henry, and Miami, if you are worried that the fans are going to revolt, you get Derrick Henry, and we're fine with whatever you do for the rest of the free agency. Just get Derrick Henry. That's like on my list. That's like the one that I need done. That and the center position. And maybe Onwenu. They get Derrick Henry and Onwenu and maybe like Andre James. I don't give a crap what they do for the rest of free agency. Do whatever you want. I don't give a crap. Go. I trust you. Go. Do whatever you want. So, I spend a lot of time talking about Derrick Henry. Please, for the love of God, get Derrick Henry. So, what's next? Let's talk about cornerback position. Now, there was the whole Snead rumor, and again, it's coming out that the Chiefs would want around a second-round pick. To me, if the Dolphins weren't in a cap situation that they were in, and we didn't lose Agba, we didn't lose Xavier Howard, or say we did lose Xavier Howard, we didn't lose Baker, we didn't lose our corners, we didn't lose all of our interior offensive linemen, like say Connor Williams is still under the roster, under contract, and still healthy, and both of our pass rushers are healthy, and say it's just we need little pieces here and there, like we still need a guard, or we still need a center, but we're fine at pass rusher. Christian Wilkins we have for another year. You know what I'm saying? Then, yeah, send a second, get Snead. We'll sign him. His contract, the money will kick in when Ramsey's not with us anymore. He'll be our start. Yeah, I'm totally for it. We're not there. We have a lot of holes to fill, and giving a second for a corner is not where it's at. Now, is Cam Smith going to get a chance here? I don't know. I'm not one of the coaches, nor do I have any sources that are the coaches, but there are some names that I would look at. One being Darius Williams. He played with Jalen Ramsey in LA. He was recently cut by the Jaguars, if my brain is working correctly. I think he would be a nice combination. Also compete with Cam Smith, and if he wins it out, he wins it out. And again, he already has that familiarity, he already worked with Jalen Ramsey, so there could be that 1-2 punch that we need. I don't know if they have him on here, so I don't know if I'll be able to tell you price-wise. Plus, Jarius Snead is looking at like $19.8 million a year. I don't think they put Darius Williams on here because he was cut recently. No, there's a lot of corners in here, though, that the Dolphins could like see what's up. Adoree Jackson. Yeah. So there's that. Also, this is a name I'm going to say to you guys, and I know I'm going to get some pushback in the comment section, but for the right price, again, I'll say it one more time, for the right price, I wouldn't be upset with JC Jackson. Now, I know he fell off the past 2 years. I get it. He went to the Chargers. They paid him. He didn't do much. Then he went from the Chargers to the Patriots last year. Didn't do much. There's talks of, hey, they could bring him back, blah, 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 yada, yada. Fun fact, the year that Byron Jones sat out and we kind of got screwed, which I think was 2022, maybe 2021. I think it was 2022. The plan was to bring in J.C. Jackson and have him be with Xavier Howard and then move on from Byron. But Byron waited to get his surgery, and then we kept him, and all this stuff happened. So, like I said, if the price is right, if we could get J.C. Jackson for, let me see what someone might be going for, $6 million. Do like a 1 year $6 million, but have incentive based, or a 2 year $8.5 million. I'm trying to look at different corners. Yeah, like a 2 year $7 million. You know what I'm saying? Incentive based with that First year, you get some of your money, and then we have a chance to move on. I'm down for that because, yes, he sucked the past 2 years, but in 2020, he had 9 interceptions, and in 2021, he had 8 interceptions. And a lot of people were talking about Eli Apple, and do you want another Eli Apple? Eli Apple never had one of those good seasons, let alone 2 like J.C. Jackson did. So, for me, Snead, I'm not giving up a second. J.C. Jackson, you want to come to Miami and show people that these past 2 years were a fluke and you can get back to where you are? Why not? If it costs like $3 million a year, I'm fine with that. Now we get to, I think I have two more positions, and then I'm gonna throw one at you. That's gonna make your head spin. So let's talk about safeties. Now, a lot of safeties have been cut. A lot. So the safety pool and the safety market is flooded. Now, does that help teams? Possibly, because when it comes to how much they want a year and all that stuff, hey, we can go out and get the next guy, blah, blah, blah. So I'm not going to be able to really give you money on what I'm thinking of these guys. I can give you money on the guys that they have. But I would like to, Geno Stone, who played in Baltimore in 2023, had 7 interceptions. Nose Weaver, they're saying projected 2 years, 13 million, 6.5 a year. Pair him with Javon Holland. I think that would be fantastic. That's my number one safety. But then you also have Poyer. He got cut. He's up there in age though, but he flirted with Miami and Tua and all that stuff last year. Could they go out and do it and pay him cheap? Possibly. But again, my number one is Geno Stone. And then just cut Justin Simmons. Now, I don't know how much he's going to want. I don't know how much he's going to be able to get on the open market, but I wouldn't be upset with adding Justin Simmons with Javon Holland. My number one would be Geno Stone. He's turning 25, and you can build with him and Javon Holland and get a nice 1-2 punch there. But if that doesn't work out and, you kind of want a stopgap until you grab someone, like maybe we grab someone in the draft, Justin Simmons, I think that'd be a really cool move and add that. But if not, I'm fine with bringing back Deshaun Elliott. I don't think he did too bad. They're projecting 1 year, 40 million. What is he, a quarterback? 1 year, $4 million. I wouldn't be against that. Jeremy Chin would be a good option. 1 year, $3 million. Brandon Jones, I'd still bring Brandon Jones back, regardless of what they do. Kevin Byard was recently released from the Eagles. That's another possibility. There's a lot of safeties out there. Jordan, like I said, Jordan Poyer, a lot. So to me, the number one would be Geno Stone. But if he outprices it, see what you can get. See what Justin Simmons would want to come play in Miami. So I got one last position, and then I'm going to talk about the spicy one. And that's kind of edge defender. Now, when it comes to interior guys, I didn't really talk about it because if you can't bring back Christian Wilkins, I'm drafting a guy because you can get a really good interior defensive tackle at 21 or 55, like Fisk. So if I can't bring back Christian Wilkins, I would just draft a guy. Because some of these guys out there, like Justin, I'm going to butcher his name, Matabuki, who was with the Ravens, is going to be $23 million a year, which seems like that's what the Dolphins were offering Christian Wilkins, who now wants 25. So, maybe there. Outside of that, it's like Leonard Williams, nah, I'm good. Sheldon Rankins, nah, I'm good. Fletcher Cox is old, you know what I'm saying? Quentin Jefferson, nah, I'm good. So yeah, like if they can't bring back Christian Wilkins and they are like, hey, we're willing to give Justin $21 million and he takes that for 4 years, I'd be fine with that. I'd be absolutely fine with that. But I also would like to draft. So there's that. So again, in the interior, can't bring back Christian Wilkins, go with Justin Matabuki. If you can't get him, draft somebody because you can get a really good starter at either 21 or 55. But when it comes to the outside guys, meaning pass rushers, outside linebacker, I think we're pretty much going to be running a 3-4 system. I don't know if it's going to be a hybrid. It could be. I know concept-wise, but I don't know formation-wise 100% what we're running. But when it comes to the pass rushers and stuff, we don't know where Phillips is going to be back, even though at the Dolphins Challenge Cancer biking event, walking around, no boot, looked like he was doing good. That's a pretty far spot in his rehab schedule. Could have him back by September. Could have him back by the end of September, so we might not have him for like 3-4 games. Bradley Chubb towards ACL. Now, supposedly ACLs aren't as long as Achilles, but they are more extraneous when it comes to their rehabbing ability. So we might have them both back in October, or we could have them sooner. I don't know. I don't know how their rehabbing is going, all that stuff. Long story short, we need to address that because we don't know. Now, will Andrew Van Ginkel be coming back? I don't know. Hopefully. Again, that's where the tampering period comes in. But I don't think they're going to go out and spend a ton of dinero on any of these pass rushers that I'm looking at. Like Donnell Hunter's like $21 million a year. Bryce Huff is $16 million a year. Chase Young is $15 million. But there's a name, Zadarius Smith, $12 million a year. Josh Uche, he wasn't bad in 2022 with the Patriots, but he fell off pretty bad. Andrew Van Ginkel's supposedly only getting 6.5. I don't know why they haven't brought him back. That's not bad. I bet you as soon as they get the cap space down, they're going to bring Andrew Van Ginkel back. I hope so. But if they don't, I would bring in a guy that has worked with Anthony Weaver, a guy that the Dolphins have been trying to get, a guy that he's been trying to play for the Dolphins, and it won't cost a lot of money. And that's Jadeveon Clowney. Bring him in. He can fill in that spot until Phillips and Chubb come back to being 100%, and you get that nice rotation. And I do think they'll draft one. Like the way that this draft is falling, there is a possibility that I'll tell you right now who could be there at 21, and that's Latu, the UCLA pass rusher. Great year last year. I wouldn't be upset if they took him. You know, if they figure out the offensive line. Like I said, they bring in that center in Andre James. They bring in Onwenu as a guard. All of a sudden, bring back Wynn. You're good on the offensive line. You could still draft in its best player available. And Latu's sitting there at 21. Pull the trigger. Then you have Jadeveon Clowney, you got Latu. And those are guys you can build, because then Bradley Chubb, you don't restructure his contract. Next year, you can move on from him, save $25 million. Then your pass rushers are Latu and Jalen Phillips. So it could all work out. So again, I would go out and get Jadeveon Clowney just as a stopgap to help us, get after the quarterback while our guys are trying to get back to where we need to be. And the last thing I'm going to talk about, and this is the spicy one that you guys probably all been talking, like, what does he talk about? What is he going to say? What is he going to say? And that's backup quarterback. Now, I don't think Mike likes it. Whenever he came in, when they took Tua out because we were blowing him out, I was just like, he's going to do something stupid, and he throws interception. And he's just not the guy, right? God forbid Tua does get hurt. He's just not the guy that could help us out. Now, there are guys out there that you can go out and bring in as a backup quarterback. Gardner Minshew, I wanted him last year. He actually did pretty decent as the backup for Indy. You got like Jameis Winston. You got, guys like that. You can bring back Ryan Tannehill. Tyler Huntley is not a bad backup. Joshua Dobbs did really good in his situation. But the guy I'm thinking of is going to be cheap, in my opinion. Knows the system, ran the system so well. That's Jimmy Garoppolo. Now, yes, he's still part of the Raiders. If they cut him after June 1st, they save $24 million. If they cut him before, like as of right now, they will save $11 million. Now, if they do a post June 1st cut on him, like they keep him, they try to trade him, nothing happens, and the Dolphins will have $18.5 million. The dead cap is $17 million. Either way, they cut him, which means essentially that he's still getting $17 million. He's going to be suspended for the first 2 games. I don't think he's going to cost that much money. Again, like you look at Ryan Tannehill, 7.5 a year, Gardner Minshew, 8.7. Like I think you could get Jimmy, especially because he's already getting paid for like $4 million a year. That's just an idea. It's just an idea I'm throwing out there. Again, he's suspended for the first 2 games, but he's a guy that, knows the system. But again, on the flip side, if Tua starts struggling, say like for some reason he starts struggling the first 3-4 games, people are going to start clamoring for Jimmy Garoppolo to come in. But yeah, that's the kind of, the names I want. I really want Derrick Henry. I really want Tommy Townsend, the punter. Linebacker, I just think it's better if they get, Tranquil and Aziz, a 1-2 punch instead of spending big money. But if they did, Frankie Louvu is who I want. J.C. Jackson, Darius Williams at corner, pick one of them. Darius Williams more than J.C. Jackson, but J.C. Jackson might be cheaper. Just some ideas out there. And again, safety, there's a ton of safeties out there. Comment below before we get out of here. So when I talked about essentially comp picks and stuff like that, I'm going to go full detail this weekend in a video kind of telling you guys what to expect from them. But if the Dolphins don't get back Christian Wilkins and they don't get back Robert Hunt, they'll probably sign some big contracts in free agency. You can't match them. So essentially, you can't go out and sign a Patrick Queen because that will kind of counteract the contract that Robert Hunt went out and signed, and you won't get a comp. There's a possibility that the Dolphins can get 2 third-round comp picks if they lose Wilkins and Hunt. So there's a lot that's going into that. I will make a video about that probably tomorrow, but this weekend's probably going to be crazy with restructuring and stuff, so you're going to get a lot of videos from me this weekend. But other than that, hope you guys enjoyed it. Comment below if there's any free agents that you guys want the Dolphins to get or you think would fit the system. Comment below. Let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you guys probably tomorrow. But like usual, stay classy and fins up.